Welcome everyone to the happiest place in the world. It is so happy and joyful here because here is where you get all of the greatest secrets that are ever to be known by anyone in the world. I give you those greatest secrets, and I am feeling so wonderful today because it's marvelous outside. The sunshine, the birds are flying by, all the little animals are scampering around and enjoying the nice weather this time of year. And it's just a marvelous, exciting day in every way. But there are things going on here that thousands of times greater than that excitement, thousands of times greater than all the wondrousness that the birds feel as they're flying through the sky, and all of the marvelous things the little pets are feeling as they camper around the yard and around the place, and all of the wondrous things that every little creature on earth are feeling. It's 1,000 times greater than all of that, as exciting as all of that is. And why is that? Because the great secret in the world is that you now can experience and feel all joy. When you're ready for it, you can say, I want that joy. And all of that joy can now be experienced by you this very minute. So this could very well be the happiest day in your life. And it is the happiest day in my life because every day is happier than the day before. Every day gives more joy because this is a growing joy. And you need to get into this growing joy. This joy is like a tree that is well fertilized and well watered and in exactly the perfect spot. It just grows and grows and grows and grows. You know, just like a tall oak tree grows, as it gets some of them go so high that you can't even see the tops of them. And it doesn't take very long after they're planted for them to get there. And so we know that this joy is just like this. Every day it grows until it grows so far that you cannot believe how far you've come. And the other great secret of the world is that you can experience now is that you can have the healing power flowing through you this very moment. And you can have that growing and getting greater and greater every day. And that is something that you definitely need and want. And so right here's where you get that. I tell you about that, and I get you started and get you planted on all of that joy and all of that healing power, so that the tree of your awareness and your consciousness and your life gets greater and happier every day. Come in then and enjoy all the vast riches that you can even barely think of. Far beyond anything you can imagine are the joys that you can receive and that you can have flowing right now. And so much beyond what you feel like that you could be healed of is what you actually can be. You can be healed of anything because that is how powerful the healing power is. We cannot even imagine now, even in our greatest imagination, actually how great that healing power is, but we can certainly begin to feel it. And we can feel it, and we know it's here, and we can feel it working. It's just a marvelous time to be alive. There's no more marvelous time to be alive than now, because all of this power is here. You know, I mean, I realize that there's nothing on good as far as what you hear coming from most sources of broadcast and news and so on. But here you have the reality of what is actually going on. No guessing. We're not guessing what's happening. We're not guessing how joyful we can be or how happy we can be. We know because we're experiencing it now. And so we know what the solutions for all the problems are. And we know how to get ourselves planted in those solutions. And so it's not as much getting to the root of the problem or the problems as it is getting rooted in the place where all solutions flow. And we're doing that right now. We're getting ourselves rooted in the place where all of the solutions are. And so that makes this such a beautiful, wonderful day. Such a gracious day. The day when those great secrets flow like water. More and more we learn all of the great things that are actually going on, and we get happier and happier and happier. It is a joyful time when you begin to realize these things. And how can we even describe how we feel when these things start flowing? Other than just telling you how it makes us jump and shout and run and have all kinds of happy feelings and exhilarated feelings and excitement and enthusiastic feelings. It becomes like a great mountain filled with joys of every kind. A great mountain filled with diamonds and jewels and gold. And we open our eyes to see that, and we say, I didn't know there was that many diamonds and that much gold and that many rubies and that many other jewels in this world. I didn't know that there was a whole mountain full of them, and that all I had to do was open my eyes. And yet all of those diamonds, they represent all the many facets of this joy that you will begin to experience when you open your spiritual eyes to them. Open your inner eyes, your spiritual eyes, your mental eyes, your soul's eyes. Oh yes, to all of those diamonds of joy with all of their many facets that will heal you, facets that will lift you up. One facet, one side, and the other side of that diamond. All those many facets on that diamond. One side it heals you, one side lifts you up, one side gives you greater joy than you ever had in your life. Oh yes, and the other side just causes you to dance and sing like you never did before in your life, without all of the inspiration that causes the energy that knows no end, and you never run out of it. The energy that you can get from this is an energy that you will never run out of. And you will always be moving in joy all the time, every day, never to go back again into that limited thinking again. And so that's another side of that diamond, is that you are able to see that there's no such thing as limited thinking. That however vast you can raise your consciousness to understand the goodness and all the good that is here, so much will be the good that you'll be actually able to see and experience in your life. So the goodness knows no end. All of this good knows no end. And so, as I look and see now, I can see the great beautiful sun outside, and the great beautiful high trees and all their leaves, and birds flying around, and all the animals running, and all the things happening, and all the joys that are going on with flowers shooting up through the ground. And as I look and I see all of those marvelous things, it's nothing to compare to this joy that is growing and flying and brooding, coming up out of my soul and growing within me and flying out of my spiritual being. All of the great things that are growing within inside my awareness now are beyond any imagination. I compare them to those beautiful things outside that you see, and the most beautiful flowers that you can see. I compare it to that, but it's actually nothing to compare to that, because it's thousands and thousands and thousands of times greater than that. So certainly you will want to get started now on this so that this will be the happiest day of your life. And every day will be the happiest day because you'll be happier every day than you was the day before, and you'll have more energy tomorrow than you did today. You'll have more power tomorrow than you had today. You'll have more healing power flowing tomorrow and the next day and the next day than you did today. And you'll have more understanding of these things, and you'll see them thousands and thousands and thousands of times greater. They'll come clearer, thousands of times more clear every day that goes by. And so your joys will just multiply and multiply, multiply and multiply and multiply. You know, we've all read that book called Acres of Diamonds. But that's nothing to compare with this. I mean, this is acres of such beautiful diamonds of understanding and joy and power and peace and happiness that goes for just thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, just covers the entire world. It's all present. The universe is full of all of these diamonds of joy and healing power. And you know, it's rather sad that sometimes we live a long time before we realize all of that is actually here. And all of that is available to our awareness if we only decide that we're going to stop and get quiet and think and let our awareness understand what is actually here. And then all of a sudden we realize what all is here, and it just becomes earth-shattering to us. I mean, it just shatters all of our preconceptions and just brings us into an entire new world of happiness and joy. And we wonder why it took us so long to understand that that is here. But that's the joy. That's the joy of living, that we do eventually come to that point where we see that that is all here. Every joy that you could, if you sat down with a notebook and you fill out the whole thing about this is what I describe joy as, or this is what I think joy will be, or this is the joy I'd like to experience, and you listed everything that you could define or think of that would be joy to you or happiness to you when you got through and you had this entire notebook full of joys, and then when you got to that end of that notebook full of joys, you would not even have scratched the surface, and you would have to throw that notebook away and start with the real joy, because those joys you listed wouldn't even be anything to compare with the joys that are actually there now. The joy that you're now receiving will go so far beyond anything that you could write down that when you got through with that exercise, even though it would be a good exercise to do that, you would find out that you had only begun to open the door to real joy. This joy goes beyond anything you can put down in words. It's joy unspeakable and full of glory. It is joy that is truly divine and truly turns you into a divine being. It truly causes you to rise in your mind and your soul above mortality and mortal thinking and into the understanding of spirituality that lets you look beyond the interval called death into the great immortal future that you're about to experience. And so it's marvelous. And so I'm going to pray right now that everyone listening to me now will understand and receive all of this great joy that they could ever possibly experience and hold. That now this will be the happiest day of their life. And if anyone has a disease, whether they call it curable or incurable, Lord, that you know that you can heal that now, this very second. And I pray that you would heal them by your great power in the name of thy Holy Son, Jesus, and lift people up above oppression, depression, obsession of every kind, and out of every valley of doubt and every valley of lack of joy, and into every great power where they can look across and see a promised land of love, joy, and peace that they can never believe, that stretches forever and ever and ever. And oh, dear God, just give them that great happiness and joy like they've never had before in their life. Put them up there on that high mountain of joy and happiness so that they will shout with joy and run with joy, run with energy like they've never run before. Oh, yes, and I just pray now that you would heal and raise up and give power and energy in the name of thy Holy Son, Jesus. Amen, amen, and